And we're live.
We're live, everyone.
Hey.
Sorry for the late start, guys. We are here with Preston
My
Lee
bad.
from Millo.co. Let's give it up for Preston, everyone in the office. Thanks for being here, buddy.
And hello to everybody in the chat.
Yeah, no problem.
Joining us.
Yeah, thank you, guys. We can see people showing up right now, so we'll give it a few more minutes before we jump into the meat of today. But I'm really excited personally about what you're sharing, Preston. It's something I'm really passionate about. It's very close to my heart. Would you mind, for everyone jumping on now, introducing yourself, what you're all about, and what you're going to be sharing today?
Yeah, absolutely. My name is Preston Lee, and I have been running a website focused on helping freelancers, particularly designers. It started as a design blog, but has morphed into sort of helping freelancers of all kinds. But I do have a soft spot in my heart for designers for sure. It's called Millo. You can find it at Millo.co, which I know some of you have been looking at it as we've been getting ready to
tiny
load
green
the chat.
button below the video, guys.
Yeah, so there is a green button. So feel free to check it out.
And at Millo, our goal is just to help freelancers thrive, and so we do that in a number of ways. You know, we have the blog, obviously, we have a couple of podcasts, we have a big old Facebook group, and we love helping people sort of build whatever kind of business, solo business particularly, that they want to fit their lifestyle. You know, so we really focus on helping people build a business that works with their life. But that they don't have to be like a starving artist, which I know designers face all the time. As a fellow designer, I know that sometimes the feast and famine can be awful, but our goal is to help freelancers build consistent, reliable businesses that are fun.
I love it. Great mission. And Preston and us go way back.
I was going to say, I know the name from when I started years ago. So
yeah, Millo was one of our early stage partners at Design Cut. So we've known each other for years. Preston is now more recently contributing to our blog, which I'm super excited about, to try and bring the community here some value. So couldn't think of a better person to join us today and provide some education on this stuff.
Well, thank you. I'm a big fan of these. I've checked out a few of them, and among some very, very talented people. Hopefully, I can match up. But thanks again for having me. It's great. And
just to let you know, Preston, there is sometimes a slight delay between what we're saying and the chat. So often we'll ask a question and then there'll be a couple of seconds silence. So don't worry if that happens. There's just a bit of a lag with the chat sometimes.
Lovely viewers at home blowing up the internet.
That's great.
So what are you going to be sharing with us today, Preston?
Today we're going to work a little bit through how to sort of rethink the idea of a portfolio. Now, I know, some of you may have a portfolio, some of you may not have a portfolio. Some of you might use, Instagram or Behance or something else for your portfolio. Regardless of what you use, a lot of what we're going to talk about today will apply. But our goal today is to say, can we rethink how we talk about portfolios, how we think about portfolios, so that they can drive more visitors, get more people interested in the first place, and also once people are there, there's a higher likelihood of those people converting to actual clients. So that's the goal for today is how do we actually make our portfolios not just a showcase of pretty things, which they definitely can be, but how do we turn them into actual business generating machines?
I love it.
Yeah, I'm very excited.
Me too. So this should be, everyone who's joined us today, this should be unbelievably useful. Get the notepads out, start taking some bullet points, because this is going to be a great way to get you more clients if you're a freelancer. And even some of the tips should be relevant for social media profiles and just kind of optimizing what people have, right?
Yes, absolutely. Some of it will be very website specific, but I know there is definitely a trend of people using something like Instagram for their portfolio, which I don't disagree with necessarily. I guess we can get into that a little bit, into the weeds a little more later on that. But yeah, it should apply to everybody, no matter what stage you're in, whether you've had a portfolio for years or whether you're hoping to finally build one this year, wherever you're at, doesn't matter. We're hoping to help you out today.
Dave in the chat said that's what he needs, and it's a really good week that he chose to come back to the Hangouts because he's been away for a little while. So welcome back, Dave. Thank you for joining us.
Missed you, buddy.
We did miss you.
And Paul as well. I had a chat with Paul earlier, which was awesome. So yeah, I'm excited to see where Paul takes his creative business this year.
Lots of notepads at the ready. I'm seeing there.
Smith as well. Love Smith in the comments. So Preston, are you going to screen share right away? I'll just kind of talk through.
let's chat for just a minute first. And then
Amazing.
What I'm hoping to do is screen share a few portfolios that I've been able to critique. And we're gonna continue to critique them. We're gonna show you maybe a few things that can continue to be improved on those, in hopes that it can sort of inspire you on your own portfolio. But here's the thing that I've learned. Most designers, particularly, especially designers, but even many freelancers of all kinds, as I've sort of worked, I mean, I've worked with thousands and thousands of freelancers through the website, and it never fails. One of the most common contributors, or at least what freelancers feel contribute to their business, is having a portfolio. And so I'll talk to them about like sending cold emails or using social media to market their business or going to events or whatever, like all these marketing tactics. And invariably I'll get responses like, well, I don't have a portfolio yet, or I'm afraid my portfolio is not good enough yet, or all this hesitancy around portfolios, which tells me that freelancers, again, designers particularly, believe and understand that a portfolio is extremely valuable as a business asset, extremely important to take care of and to use, and there's a huge amount of potential there. But from what I've seen, again, from critiquing dozens and dozens of sort of officially critiquing dozens of portfolios, and then just looking at hundreds more probably over the years, there seems to be like this disconnect between how important they see their portfolio being and how hard they work to make it actually sort of work for them.
Would you say most of them focus more on creating the work than they do actually giving it a home? Because I notice that all the time. They're super passionate and they invest all this time in creating the illustrations or whatever design pieces, and then they kind of just slap it up on a website as an afterthought.
Yes, and naturally so, right? If you've read the book, The E-Myth Revisited, which is sort of a classic service-based business book, I'd recommend it to any freelancer. There's the maker who makes beautiful things, right? And everyone here in the community is like busy making beautiful things all the time. But then there's the business person, or the CEO, or however you want to, our friend Chase Reeves over at Fizzle, Tom, talks about the CEO and the worker bee, right? Mm-hmm. And sometimes you have to be over here getting the work done. And other times you have to be strategizing and building a plan for your business to grow. And I find that many designers, many freelancers spend way too much time over here in relation to the time that they spend strategizing, especially in relation to their portfolio. So yes, that's a long way to say, yeah, that's absolutely what happens all the time.
Yeah. Also, I just wanted to jump in and say, guys, if you have any questions, don't forget to use the Ask a Question button at the bottom. And after we've had a chat and gone through some of the portfolios, we can go through some Q&A with Preston as well. So don't forget to get your questions down.
You're giving people the cold shoulder.
I know. Sorry, the camera was only showing my shoulder, Preston. So they're just joking that I was trying to hide. I'm here.
Very nice.
Always cozy.
We're glad you're here.
We don't want to get like too cozied up on the sofa, so we're trying to keep our distance, but still both be on camera.
Very nice.
Cool. So yeah.
Go ahead, Tom.
No, I was going to say, so what can people do? What are like the actionable steps to start thinking about this stuff?
Yeah. So I think what I have found is there are maybe 3 critical pieces to sort of rethinking your portfolio. First, you have to stop thinking your portfolio as a place to just show off your work. Tom, you were sort of getting at this, right? It can't just be a place for pretty pictures. Obviously, visuals matter, but it can't just be about the visuals. And so we'll talk a little bit about what else needs to be involved in your portfolio. Second of all is it isn't necessarily the best place to sort of build a following or grow an audience, right? So a lot of people will build a portfolio and then they'll start a blog or lots of other aspects, which again we'll get into. Instead, what you want to do is tell a story and take your visitors on a journey. So we'll dive into that. The third thing is a lot of times people, particularly with an online portfolio, their goal is to rack up page views or visits, and they care a lot about those numbers. Instead, what you want to shift and focus on instead of page views or visits is how many conversions is your portfolio actually driving? How many visitors turn into actual paying clients as a percentage, right? And then as you can build that percentage, it actually doesn't matter how many visits you get. That's sort of more of a vanity metric. A less important metric. What really matters is how many clients am I getting from the number of visitors that I bring to my site. Then it's just a matter of running healthy marketing campaigns to actually get people to a site that's already converting well. Yeah. Okay, so sorry, go ahead.
I was just agreeing with you.
Yeah, okay.
I was like, absolutely.
So back to step one, I think this is, I always put this first because it's maybe the biggest offense that I see, designers particularly, and I'm guilty of this as well. Just using your portfolio to showcase your work is not enough anymore. Maybe it used to be, I don't know. Certainly there are other places if you just want to showcase your work. If you're maybe doing all sales in person, then maybe you only need an Instagram feed or a Behance account or, a Dribbble account or wherever you showcase your design work. Like maybe that's all you need. But if you're relying on people visiting your website, your portfolio, and converting to clients, you need way more than just pictures. And we'll see that in a couple of the examples I'm going to show shortly. In addition, you need effective copywriting. You need to send people sort of through a funnel, which I know can be like a scary word for artistic people. A funnel sounds like very salesy and slimy and gross and awful. It doesn't have to be, right? It can be very genuine to who you are. It can be very creative and fun and outgoing and it can really match your personality. It doesn't have to be like a shady sales pitch. And it should also focus 100% on the client. So this is maybe one of the worst offenses is it's so easy to focus on you, right? You get into a portfolio and you say, I do this for clients. Here's what we do best, right? Instead, talk about the big challenges that your potential clients face most often. If you start speaking their language and show that you understand the problems that they face, your work can actually be less impressive and you'll go farther because you're showing empathy with your client. So that's step number one. I'm trying to get through these quick because I want to get to some actual portfolios to really show visually what we're talking about here. The second one is instead of focusing just on building an audience or a following, you focus on sending them on a journey. So instead of like on your website, on your portfolio site, instead of linking to everything under the sun, your LinkedIn account, your Instagram account, your Behance account, whatever, like instead of linking to all those things on every page, maybe in the footer or something, that's the mentality of someone trying to grow an audience. Your portfolio isn't meant to grow an audience. If you want to grow an audience, start a blog, start a podcast, start an Instagram, start a YouTube channel, whatever. You can grow audiences that way, that's fine. Your portfolio should be a method for capturing new visitors who can potentially become paying clients to bring new business in for your freelance business. Okay, so every chance that they have to click away from your site to leave that journey from visitor to paying client, that's an opportunity that you've missed. That's a chance you've given them to leave your journey. So instead of focusing on building a following, you're focusing on one person at a time, one visitor at a time, one potential client at a time, and you're sending them on a very specific journey through your portfolio from here's who I am to here's the work I do and here's how it has helped previous clients, all the way down to contact me and let's be in touch, and then you can finalize your pitch, over the phone or via email or however you prefer. So it's not about building a following. It's about taking one person at a time on a journey as they go through your portfolio. Last of all, it's not about the page views. It's about the conversions, and that kind of goes with the second one, right? But as we talk about conversions, you have to make the barrier to entry extremely, extremely low for a client to contact you. Some freelancers will put this like 20 question form on their website that clients have to fill out so that they can figure out what their budget is and they can pre-qualify them. That can be helpful sometimes. I would say that's helpful when you have thousands and thousands of visitors coming to your site every week or every month, and you really have to qualify good and bad clients. Yeah. For most of us, it's all about getting in as many potential leads as possible so that we can start to learn what clients need, what they don't need. So you have to really lower that barrier to entry. Make a Facebook Messenger button. Make a super simple contact form where they put their name, their email address, and a message. Have a button so they can direct message you on your preferred social media. Like there are lots of ways you can have. If you're in Slack, they make little Slack chat apps that look like a customer service chat on your portfolio site, but it comes through as a Slack message. They make the same thing for Facebook Messenger. So there's lots of really, really easy ways. That the easier, the better, right? You don't want anyone to second guess or get frustrated when they're this close to contacting you. You don't want them to second guess and say, never mind, this is too hard. It's not worth it. I'm not going to reach out. A huge win is to get someone's email address, because then you can be in contact with them more frequently. You can follow up 6 months from now if they decide not to be a client now. You can learn from them what they're looking for, what they're not looking for. So anyway, those are the big three things. I want to share. Are we okay to move on to sort of share a few portfolios and just talk about these?
Yeah, 100%. And for everyone listening right now, I've done this stuff for years, and I was kind of just sat back listening, taking it in. But I completely agree with everything Preston shared. All very, very salient points, all 100% guaranteed to improve what you're doing in some kind of way. So they're all great points. I've taken notes here. I think everyone else should be doing the same.
I think as well, like even for myself who isn't a designer and doesn't do this every day, I think the other guests that we've had on, I know Michael Fugstrater and Lauren Hom had both said about their Instagram feeds. And I think Scotty from Perspective Collective said the same thing. Instead of just putting loads of stuff out there, you need to be putting out the stuff you want to get hired for. And you need to be putting it out as if it's that one client that you're putting it there for, rather than just loads of stuff that's going to reach out to a load of people. Be more specific. Talk to those that you are trying to reach as if it's just one individual client at a time. And, you know, those guys are obviously super successful. So that's something I will always remember. And you've said exactly the same thing with the portfolio, you know, be specific rather than just going wide.
I love that. And
I feel like I just witnessed the Karate Kid moment where you've learned all this stuff through osmosis of being on the course. I like it.
No, you're like, off you go.
young grasshopper.
I do listen, you know. I don't just switch off for an hour.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I think it's important to recognize, like, Instagram can be used as sort of top of the funnel. There's that F word again, funnel. It doesn't have to be sort of slimy or salesy, but the top of the funnel can be your Instagram account, and so that should be part of that journey that we talked about, right? Mm-hmm. What journey are you taking them from your Instagram account to your portfolio and through your portfolio to learn more and eventually become a client?
Yeah.
So let's
the idea of funnels scares people. Think of it a different way. Think of just having intent.
Yeah.
You don't want it just to be a happy accident where you're like, well, I kind of have a portfolio just because it's the done thing. And you don't really have any idea what people are going to be doing on that website. I've been working with Lauren Hom to help redesign her website, and she was guilty of this. She's like a real established person, but she's got what I call gallery syndrome. So you go on her website and it's just a giant grid of work, and that's visually impressive, but it's not clear what she's offering, what value she brings, who she caters it to, what they should do next if they're interested. None of that stuff was there. It was just a giant grid of work. And so the redesigned site, which is coming pretty soon, that I've been helping her with, is just a million times more clear. Specific. And it really holds the hand of the person visiting and tells them what to do next.
Yeah, I love that. You're speaking my language 100%. I love what is it, gallery syndrome? Is that what you called it?
I'll be honest. I call it that. I just made that up now. But
it's not trademarked. Yeah, I am 100% agree with that. Like that is such a common offense, particularly among designers, is to just have this wall of, granted, beautiful things, right? But you're really making the client work to figure out if you're a good fit. And what you want to do is not make them work, not make them think, just convince them. And you know, like you said, yeah, if funnel is not the right word, that's why we use the word journey a lot. It's sort of a client journey from someone who's interested down to someone who eventually hires you. Yeah. Whatever you want to call it, like You have to be strategic about that, or you're really doing yourself a disservice, because the other thing is, designers particularly, like, we are all so picky in a good way, right? But you can get so picky about how your portfolio looks that you spend hours and hours and hours on it, and then nothing happens. Like, nothing converts. You don't get any new clients, and you feel like you've wasted all this time, and it can be really discouraging.
Yeah. Or you're tweaking the text weight rather than addressing the real problems.
Rather than working on the copy, or working on this sort of journey and getting the flow through. Yeah, I agree. You're moving the logo by 2 pixels or something. Go back and do that stuff later. For now, focus on that client journey.
Yeah, I love it. So are you going to jump in now and show some examples of real
let's do it.
Sweet.
Let's do it.
And everyone who's tuned in right now, get your questions in, because we're going to jump into some Q&A.
Smith's got his in already, so amazing, Smith. Thank you very much.
Love it, Smith. I'm going to give a shout out as well.
Also, Tom's got a really sore neck. He slept funny and he's got a bit crooked. So if he looks weird, you can all laugh at him in the comments. It's fine.
I'm looking weirder than normal today. I've got a very stiff neck.
Slightly like Frankenstein.
While Preston's bringing this up, I want to give a shout out to Angela, Nick, SMC, Rory. I can't read. Laura, Heather, Rico, Paul, Dave, Phil, Jill, Alf, Gloria, Robbie O'Neill, Jay, Keith, Dana, Smith. All you guys jumping on today. Jazz, thank you guys for being here. Appreciate you tuning in. Thank you, Smith. Appreciate that in the comments. Cool. Preston, are you good to jump into portfolio land?
Absolutely great. I also hope it's okay to shout this out now too. We'd love, so we're going to start on a few portfolios that I have worked with in the past. So they're sort of mid-process on improving some things. So there will be some things that we'll sort of admire about them and talk about what they're doing right. And then there'll be some things we'll talk about that they can still improve. But these are real portfolios of actual creatives who are doing business right now, working as freelancers, trying to get new clients. But let's also, can we shout out now, if you have a portfolio website that you would like to have us critique similarly to some of these, feel free to post that in the comments. We will we'll do it live here on the air if there are some takers, and we'll go through and give you a few pointers as well. So feel free to. Are the comments fine for that, guys?
Yeah, so there's
100%.
a slight delay, but they'll be popping them in, and we'll shout out if we get any questions so that you know. But yeah, feel free to do that, guys. Just leave us your link in the chat.
Or actually, if you could put it in the ask a question bit and just leave a question that is simply your portfolio link. And that way we can keep track of them. But guys, definitely get it in. Dave, you got to put it in there. Paul, get it in the ask a question bit.
Dave, come on.
Dave, you definitely have to. This is a ridiculous waste if you guys don't do it, because Preston is very much an expert. So am I, to be honest. I've done this for years and years, so I'm sure we can both give you some feedback. I used to charge a few $100s a pop for this of consultancy. Yeah. Preston does the same. So you're going to get it for free. So just chuck it in the ask a question bit, and we would love to help.
Perfect. Let's start off here by this portfolio for Sunshine Creative Inc. And Tom, interrupt me. I can't see you now. I'm going to be on my screen here.
That's fine. We'll shout out if anything comes up.
So interrupt me, jump in, add your 2 cents as I'm going through. Here's what, let's start off with a couple things that I like and dislike. We'll refer back to maybe those 3 points and other common points as we go through. But here's what I do like about this portfolio. So Sunshine Creative Inc. Obviously run by someone named Maria here. I love that she has her face here, so it looks very human, very approachable. I love that I can type a message really quickly and talk to her right now. That comes back to lowering that barrier of entry. I can engage in a conversation with her right now. Now, this might just go to an email, or she might be live on her machine right now and be able to talk to me. But either way, it's a great comforter to me as a client to be able to see that she's available, willing to talk to a human being. You know, I don't have to go through like multiple people. I can just talk to Maria right now. So that's really fantastic. Also, very visually interesting and stunning sort of landing page. For me, what's missing a little bit on this landing page is her value proposition. Now, I have haven't scrolled yet, so we might find that further down below. But this, while some people would argue that this above the fold, below the fold is a myth or not important, I believe it is. A client lands here, and before they can take any action, they should know immediately what you can give them, how you can solve their problem, right? And so maybe instead of a giant logo in the middle, maybe the logo goes up here. Are you able to see my mouse on the screen sharing? I don't know how that works.
Yeah.
Yes, you can. Okay. So maybe the logo goes up here. It is all throughout, obviously, so maybe we don't even need it. But the logo is not as important as maybe a giant value proposition right here in the middle, something that really speaks the client's language and convinces them that you understand the problems that they face. I'm going to scroll down here and see, okay, so now I'm getting like a navigation. I'm starting to get a little bit of value proposition here. Graphic design support to help your business exceed your goals and grow. I do love how that's focused on the business itself.
Yeah.
You could actually flip the copywriting here and say, exceed your business goals and grow with our something, some nice adjective graphic design support, like reliable graphic design support or something like that.
Preston, I'm going to have to try real hard not to jump in too much here. So I hope you don't mind.
Jump in all you want, Tom. This is great.
Cool. So I think the subheading is stronger than the actual heading because the 3 words are like meaningless buzzwords. And that's another very common thing people do, where it's like beauty, integrity, life.
Passion.
Yes. That doesn't help anyone. Whereas when I start reading the bit below, I start to understand, okay, so this is targeting business owners.
Yeah.
And that's going to resonate with me if I am a business owner. And the chief thing they're going to be able to help me do is grow my business through their design services. So I would put that as the main headline and articulate that message clearer.
I agree 100%. I'd put that up here where we talked about. I'd make it nice and big and bold right here. Very easy to read. I agree. I'm not sure you even really need this bit here. And you can tweak this and play with this as people react to it. If you target a specific business, you can even say, grow your restaurant or grow your whatever the business is that you're targeting. Now, if it's general business, that's fine too. I'm going to keep going here on this section in our services. So first of all, what I love is that I can scroll and I can start to learn a lot of different things. I don't necessarily have to go through navigation. One thing I've seen a lot in portfolios is all of this unnecessary clicking. And what that does is that muddies up that journey that we talked about. So it can be a lot more difficult to control your potential client journey if they can click anywhere that they want. And so in a lot of cases, I'll actually, especially for beginners, I'll actually recommend a 1-page or 2-page portfolio site where you can actually control exactly what they see and the order that they see it in instead of hoping that they click on the right things.
Well, it's the journey again, isn't it? You want them to see it in a particular way rather than just aimlessly clicking around hoping that they'll find what you want them to see.
And top tip for everyone watching, do not underestimate the laziness of the average website visitor. Not only do they want to get stuff immediately at the top, like Preston says, but every extra tiny click or every extra second might as well be an eternity because most people leave because they just can't be bothered to click around.
I was going to say, right, so I obviously have no design history, but I will tell you something as the community manager. Tom, I've done loads of research in different platforms we can use to help manage our community better. And I will go onto Google and search for a new Instagram managing platform or whatever it is. And I will click on a website and it's exactly this, passion, life, whatever. And I'm like, I have no idea why you come up in my Google search because I don't know what you're trying to give me right now. And before I've even gone past that tagline, if I can't see exactly whether they're going to do what I want them to do or not, I'm like, see ya, on to the next one. And if it's not staring me in the face as to them ticking the boxes that I'm looking for, I don't care, I'm gone. So I think that's, that's even in a different industry, but it has to be there in front of your face from the beginning.
So true.
Yeah. You have to convince them from the beginning that what they're looking for is what you offer or vice versa. What you offer is exactly what they're looking for. Yeah. Because and there are, millions of search results at their fingertips, right? So if they're not immediately convinced that you're the right fit, they'll just go back and look somewhere else. They're not going to dive deep like we're diving here and look at each little piece of
your chance.
You know what I love, man? Imagine you're the owner of this portfolio and you're in a real life conversation in a coffee shop with a potential client, and the client says, okay, why should I hire you? And they go,
passion,
and they go, integrity, consistency, creativity. You'd be like, you nuts? But if you turn around, you're like, oh, I'm going to help your business to grow by giving you a better design. You're like, okay, cool.
Yeah.
Imagine if that's how people pitch themselves.
Sorry, go ahead, man.
And this is such a common issue among designers, particularly because as designers, a lot of us are not good writers. We have to really work hard on that craft. Like, we really have to focus on copywriting. I would suggest for the designers who are really interested in making this work, I would suggest a couple things. I would take some copywriting courses. You don't have to pay for them necessarily. Find some interesting copywriting courses, follow some copywriting blogs. And when I'm talking about copywriting, just to be clear, because this has happened to me 100 times, copywriting is not like not legally copywriting work that you've done. Not the C in the circle. That's not the copywriting we're talking about. We're talking about copy, as in text, marketing text particularly, writing that copy. Okay, so take some courses on that, and also, before you go design your portfolio, which is so tempting as a designer to like start designing right away, instead open up a Google Doc, write out the copy that you'll have on your website, and then have people read through it and talk to them about clarity, about what they understand that you do. Talk to them about how easy it reads, and get some feedback on the actual copy before you ever put it into a web page. Yeah. Okay, shall we continue?
Yeah, definitely. And I know you've got a few here.
Yes.
I'm wary on the time. We are getting some in the chat, so maybe we could do not all of the tabbed ones here, and we could do some of the people.
Let's do it.
One, because I'd love to.
Yeah, we've got 4 or 5 in the chat. So
great. That's exciting. Fantastic. Yeah, so we'll blaze through the end of this one, and then we'll blaze through those too. Great. So what I love to remind me on time, guys. So I've got about a quarter till here.
Yeah, so officially there's like 17 minutes, but if you're happy to go like maybe 30 minutes from now.
Yeah, we started a little late, so if you have the time, Preston, and everyone's happy
to definitely
around, then we can go over slightly. It's fine.
I think the main questions coming in are portfolios, so I think the most helpful thing would be to give live breakdowns of them, as opposed to do more holistic questions. But we'd pack as much as we can in.
Great. And I'm happy to chat with anyone after this too. We'll give my contact information at the end.
Amazing. Thank you so much.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, so just blazing through the end here, I do love how they break out their services into very simple things. This is a lot of text, and it's very small. So most people aren't going to read this. They will read this. So maybe make this a little punchier, make it a little more interesting, make it a little more focused on the value that you bring. And then they do have a gallery down here, which I don't hate at this point of the journey. There is a value to showing like a good variety of work, that you've done work before, that you know what you're talking about, you know what you're doing. I would, if it were me, I would add 1 sentence sort of case study style value props down here. Like here's like this, I don't know if this is a logo. First of all, I don't know what it is. So maybe that, that could help. But you would say like this logo or this poster or whatever this is, helped bring in 20,000 people to this event, or whatever you helped the business achieve. If you really are claiming up here that you help big businesses exceed their goals, then you better be able to show down here that you've actually done that in the past. Otherwise, it's just empty promises.
Yep, definitely.
The testimonials are great. I love that. I would not wait for them to rotate. I'd pick your 3 or 4 best and put them right on, and I'd shorten them way down. I'd take like I don't know, let me count the ways. That's a lot of copy, and I know you don't want to offend a client, but I would pick like a short half sentence that says like, they're the best designer we've ever worked with. That will go a lot farther than this whole paragraph.
They increased our sales by 39% immediately with this revamp.
Yes, even better. Yeah, great.
And instead of calling it client speak, be like, here's what our happy clients are saying.
Yes. Yep. Or even exactly. Great. So she showed some of her.
Just make a quick mention of something that Dave's just brought up, and I find like this is a good question for you. Dave said he hasn't had any clients yet, so if they're fairly new to this and haven't got to that stage, would you put anything else there instead, or rather than it just kind of finishing off with what we do?
Yeah, great question. And Tom, I'm sure you have some input on this. I would recommend a couple things. I would do some pro bono work. I would do some work that for cheaper than maybe you would normally accept to get some work under your belt. I'd also get testimonials from previous employers. If you're hoping to go freelance, but right now you're an in-house designer, you can use a testimonial from an employer, someone who says like the designs that you did for them as an in-house designer resulted in business improvement as well. Like that's perfectly appropriate as well. So I think there are a few different options. Tom, do you have anything to add on that?
I think that's spot on. I think people get way too touchy about spec work and pro bono work.
Yes.
If you do it strategically, we've talked about this before on the Honest Designer show as well. If the client is the one proposing that and taking advantage of you, that's very different than you being the one to lead on that.
Yeah, 100%.
It's going to benefit you. Like, for example, I mentioned I've been working with Lauren Hom, recently helped her 10x her newsletter growth for free. And you better believe that having that as like a accolade of saying, I helped this big person to get these incredible results is worth its weight in gold. It's not why I did it. I did it because she's a friend and it's fun.
Right.
But you know what I mean? Like if I had no clients, but I had a skill set that I could apply to something like that, that's how you get off to the races. And not only can you use that as a testimonial, you can use that in client conversations and pitches.
Yeah.
Because rather than saying like, I design and I want to help you, I would always open with what I just done for my previous client, even if it was a pro bono client. And if it's like, well, I got them results like this, and I know I can get you the same results, that makes it a much easier sale.
Absolutely. Yeah, I love that. I love this section too, just to wrap up this one. I love this, our results. It talks a little bit here more about, it is good to sort of establish some confidence that you've done a lot of projects. What I would love to see here though, instead of clients served, is like, maybe the amount of money you've helped bring into businesses, or the amount, I don't know, like a little more on the value you've brought to businesses instead of being about you. About, I think, is good. But you start to get into, like, as you're scrolling through, you start to get into like, you haven't really given me a chance here except for this chat box to reach out. Like, I would love some calls to action through here, saying like, hire us or learn more, or something that takes me to probably their contact page, or even better, like a more refined sort of sales page. We're going to wrap this one up. There is a get in touch here at the bottom, so that's nice, but I did have to get through a few things that I may not be as interested in, like this person's dog. Don't get me wrong. I love dogs.
Is that
but that's, I don't know if that's going to necessarily help me land this client. It might. It depends on your client profile, of course. Here are lots of opportunities right here for people to leave your site instead of talk to you, right? So it's like, oh, maybe I do want to see more of what they've done on Dribbble. Click, and they never come back. And it's unfortunate. Same with all of these on Instagram. I get that you want people to follow you on Instagram. Obviously, that can be important. But your number one priority is this form right here, or this chat box. So you just need to focus on that. Okay, we're going to close this one out. I'm going to close out the other ones too, actually. Does that sound good, guys?
Yeah, let's jump into some... I keep wanting to say listener, but of course this is a visual format. Viewer, I don't know, attendee, community member.
There we go.
So can you see, you can see the ask a question at the bottom as well?
Yes. Yeah.
So if you scroll down slightly, they're a little bit further down. I think there was about 4 in there.
So I see Paul's.
Let's jump in with Paul
Smith. Okay, let's start with Paul's.
Paul was the first person to submit his, actually, so that was cool. Great. Are you ready, Paul? In the chat, let us know.
Here we go.
Guys, we want to see you as active as normal in the.
They're all
the
like
comments.
this listening, but can you leave us some comments, please?
I also, like, as we start on this gets super. I don't know what the word is, but we understand, Paul, you're like a real human being, and we're sitting here sort of as third parties. Like, these guys know you better. I don't know you very well, or at all, really. And so I don't want you to take anything that we're going to say personally. Like, this is all about trying to help you improve. We'll mix in some praise naturally, because I can tell already it is a great portfolio. But anyway, just understand that our mission is to help you as much as we can.
Paul did say he's scared, but don't be, Paul.
don't be scared. You don't need to be scared. Here are some things that I really like about the portfolio from the get-go. The logo is a good size. It tells me who you are and what you do, but it doesn't take over the page like we saw in the last portfolio. So it's nice. It's up there. The branding is there. It's clear, but it doesn't overwhelm you. I would If it were me, I would make these more about a journey. Graphic design, I don't know exactly what I'm going to get. So when you click on when you have a navigation item, if you choose to have a navigation item, you have to know exactly what you're going to get when you click on it. Otherwise, that journey gets very muddied. And so what I might suggest, instead of having graphic design here, is just have some graphic design case studies and projects that I can see here. While this is beautiful, I would say this maybe suffers a little bit from gallery syndrome that Tom was talking about. Because I
it's become a thing now, yeah.
That's right. Because I can't see what's actually, I don't know what you did here, what the value is. I can't see who the client was. I can't see if this was, a school project or something for a business. I can't see, did you design this whole package? Did you design just the, this little piece of it? There are lots of questions that I'm left with, right? And like, particularly, a Harry Potter book, like things get a little bit confusing and muddied through here, and I'm not exactly sure what to do. It doesn't answer a lot of value-based questions for me, right? So naturally, my first instinct is to click here if I'm going to even stay in the first place. So I'll click here. I think here's a good point to bring up. People will click in sort of an F shape. So people will click here, then they'll come down here and click, and they'll read that way as well. So naturally, people are going to click this first project first. When I click on it, I see some really cool illustration. Very clearly, Paul, you're very talented. This is very fun. I don't know what it's for. Like, I don't know if it was for a children's book. I don't know if it was for a mural. I don't know if it was for something completely different that I'm not thinking of. I'm sure it is. And I don't know what value it brought to the client that you did it for. But I'm sure there was value, or they wouldn't have hired you to do it. If it's a personal project.
Does do children book illustrations, Paul? Is that right?
Paul aspires to be an illustrator for children's books.
Yeah.
So I had a chat with him earlier, and was saying how his whole Instagram feed should reflect that kind of work he wants to get. I would freaking love to see that illustration work mocked up on a kid's book, and shown in this whole kind of larger format on his portfolio.
And you know what? Throw some text on there. Make it look like a children's book. Like show it really in its element. I love that suggestion.
Paul will probably pop up in the comments in a minute.
Yeah.
So if your primary goal, Paul, is to be a children's book illustrator, then all of these galleries, if you insist on having a gallery, which maybe after our conversation you will or won't, should look like this. I would argue that I shouldn't have to click to see this. There's no reason to shortchange yourself here. Why not put this whole image right here? If people want to click to expand it, fine.
Notes. That's why he's not messaging. He's taking notes.
You're fine. I would say just put that whole thing right here, and then there's some interesting copy below it explaining what it is. Again, you could mock it up. I would take more space here for that one project. And maybe choose 3 or 4 really great children's book illustration projects. This product looks very nice, but if you really want to do exclusively children's book illustrations, this probably doesn't help you as much, this middle piece. These maybe do, as I can click and see these bigger, I assume. Okay, so there's something happening there. So there seems to be an error on that image, Paul. Oh, wait. Here we go. See, but now I'm guessing. So now you're watching someone use your portfolio live. So that's a lot to learn there.
Yeah.
Okay. So that's interesting. So there's a different action that happens when I click on this one, where I just see a blown up picture, no case study, versus this one where there is a case study, a little bit, or at least an explanation.
What's going on in that dark area? Is there a broken image?
I can't read. What does it say?
It says Stripe not ready, will auto reload in several seconds. I don't know what that means. I assume it's some sort of slider or gallery.
Stripe is a payment processor, but either way, whatever it means, it's not good.
Yeah, whatever it is, it's not what you want. Clients. Yes. In fact, did you see how I went back? I thought it was just like a 404 page. I didn't realize that there was more down here, right?
Yep.
So whatever it is that's breaking, that's for sure something you want to fix. This is just a matter of like improving copywriting. Again, taking some copywriting courses, really studying up, getting some books, really studying up on copywriting. But the brief is not really the most catchy value-driven copy that you could use. The result of searching for religious Christmas cards that are also fun. That's starting to get a little bit more into the value prop. I think using language from the brief in your value explanation is great. And I think you've done a nice job here. That doesn't make it that much bigger. What I'd love to see is like bigger mocked up on a card, in a nice mock-up, maybe with a background or something. Oh, there they are, a little bit bigger. So I spoke too soon.
Yep.
Paul said he is currently rethinking his portfolio focus. So I guess it's going to help him do that.
Sure. Yeah, that's great. So I think it's off to a good start. This one is definitely closer than the Three Little Pigs version. But there's obviously still some work to be done. I would focus as much on the copy as you have on the visuals here. You've made the goal to really make these shine, and that's great. Move these to the left and put some copy to the right and explain what the client was looking for, how you added value to their project, what the ultimate results were of the project if you have them, things like that. Is this helpful so far?
Yeah, definitely. Paul, let us know in the comments.
He's busy writing his notes.
Yeah. I'll chime in just for a sec with my thoughts, if that's cool, Preston.
Absolutely.
So I think you're on the money with the feedback you've given so far. I would love to see where it says selected projects. That doesn't really help us very much as a potential client. It doesn't really add very much, but that's prime real estate for headline text. So what I would do, I would make that text bigger, and that's where I would clearly articulate like who you're targeting, what value you can bring to them. So that's where you say something along the lines of, I illustrate for children's books and I would love to bring this to you.
Mm-hmm.
Like, how are you going to help these people? And then you could even have like a call to action there of like, get in touch and a very thing holding their hand. And then I think Preston's exactly right. You don't need, everyone always thinks you need to have so many pieces. I think you could get away with having like 3, as long as they're really strong and they're beautifully put together. And so it's quality over quantity, because for me, those top 3 are actually quite considerably stronger pieces of work than some of the ones beneath them.
Also, for me, they look quite similar in terms of his style.
Yeah.
I know Paul's style from Instagram and stuff. So to me, that screams Paul. And that's what you want them to know, what they're going to get from working with you, right?
As opposed to this, for example, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, like that's nice,
More
but
corporate.
it's pretty incongruous. So
Right
now, I just get the feeling of like, I'm not really sure what I'd hire this guy for, because there's a lot of different styles.
Even the little Moo milk branding thing, that's still quite Paul's playful, childlike style.
I agree. So if you had 3 or 4 of the best examples from that grid, I like minimizing the clicks, like Preston said. So you can literally lay out like, here's the client, here's a testimonial from them, here's a cover image of what the project was, and here's like a couple of sentences about how successful that project was. You can put all of that stuff on your homepage if you want. You shouldn't require people to click through and read through a bunch of small text to get the gist of why it was a great project.
Yeah. With as simple as this portfolio is or can be, I don't think you even need probably a navigation up here. You could have like a hire me or learn more or contact me. Contact for me is not as strong a call to action as it could be. So I would have a very strong, learn more, hire me, reach out, something right up here, or don't have anything. Have your logo, have your projects in big form with copy, like Tom was saying. And then down at the bottom, have a nice contact form where they can reach out, or a Facebook Messenger button or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Paul just said this is really helpful, especially the single scroll with the 3 pieces plus copy. And there's loads of comments saying this is really helpful for other people as well. So going down well if you couldn't see that.
Great. Glad to hear that. Are you guys okay to move on to the next one? I know we have a lot. I don't want to shortchange Paul.
I've been coming in as we've been going
it's
through.
It's really
as well,
annoying because I could talk about Paul's for an hour.
Absolutely.
You could do this all day for all of them.
So could Preston. I can tell Preston we're on the same wavelength here, buddy. So do you want to jump into the next one? And something I'd like to do near at the end, I'd love to get your thoughts on our creative director's old agency, which he doesn't run anymore. But his site was something I shared with a lot of designers as like, here's how it's done well. And so
I thought you were going to say so that we can critique it. I was thinking, Matt's going to hate you.
Well, Preston can, but like I hold that up as like, here's a great example of how to do it. So we can maybe look at that at the end together.
Absolutely. Yeah.
But yeah, thank you, Paul. Appreciate
thank
appreciate
you for being
brave
very
enough
put yourself forward.
Yes, absolutely. Let's see. Who do we have here next? Smith, I think.
Yeah.
Okay. We're going to probably go a little bit faster than we did with Paul's. Unfortunately, I wish we could, like Tom said, I wish we could spend, a half hour or an hour on each one. Happy to do any sort of follow-up.
And we can always do another call, Preston, if it works for you this time and stuff.
Fantastic.
We've got a pretty busy schedule until the end of the month, but we can always get you back on and we can go at it again.
All right, drama. We're here for Smith's site.
Oh, look, he's ready.
All right. Welcome, human being. Enter site. So here I have, first of all, some beautiful artwork here. Obviously, very, very keen on the attention to detail. You've done a fantastic job on the work itself. Here, however, let's come back to this journey. So enter site can be part of your journey if you'd like. I would recommend just having them enter the site. But let's go back for just a minute. It's an extra click. That's right. It's an extra step. And here are some opportunities for me to just leave, right? So it's sort of like saying, enter the site if you want to, which they already told you they did want to by showing up, by the way.
Yeah.
Or here, leave instead and do something else and go, down a Twitter hole.
Is there a bottom right-hand corner? Is that another button?
I think it says powered by something.
Oh, right.
Powered by portfolio box, yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
So the technology he's built it on also wants their share of the traffic. So it's understandable, but maybe not the best strategic move necessarily. Yeah. So once we enter the site, we can see, it's very simple. There are definitely fewer ways to go through this journey that we've talked about, so that's positive. It is a little unclear. The background kind of competes with the foreground. These are all design sensitivities, which I'm probably not the most qualified to talk about. But I will say it's important to make sure that your text is very, very legible, that you can read it quickly, that you don't have to struggle to read it. And I would say the background is maybe limiting that a little bit.
And not only that, pulling attention and focus away from the work because it's so busy.
Yeah.
Yes,
Smith
agreed.
said that he's taking notes as well now, just so you know.
Great.
Like, hello.
For me, I don't know if we're on the about. Oh, it looks like we are on the About Me page. So About Me here, I would say, coming back to, talking about sort of this narcissistic tendency we have as human beings, and particularly as artists, to talk about ourselves first. Instead, talk about your clients. They will eventually want to learn more about you, but really what they want to learn about you is how you can help their business, right? And so skill sets, education, those are all important. This is really a resume, though. This is a visual resume, and what they actually want to see is how you can help their business.
Yeah.
I also, as a designer, I actually thought this was a portfolio piece.
Yeah, me too.
It's very visually interesting, obviously, but I didn't realize that this was like the content of the page, if that makes sense. I realize that now, but only because I've been sitting here talking about it for 2 or 3 minutes. Because I scrolled down expecting to see more work, and it says thank you for dropping by. So I was a little bit confused. I had to scroll up, and then okay, I see. He's showing me what his skill sets are and things like that. So this is definitely interesting, but maybe not the right place for it. Go ahead.
In the comments, Smith, can you let us know what design work you'd like to do? Because I don't, do you know that? I don't know.
I'm guessing illustration, but equally it would be good to hear from Smith.
Yeah, obviously Paul was specific to, children's book illustrations. Is there anything in particular, Smith, that you kind of want to go down the route of, just so we can bear that in mind?
And Smith, while you're doing that, keep in mind that they had to ask, right? That's very telling. So design can be maybe a little too broad. I
think that Smith might still be in education, I feel like, or has just finished. Yeah. I can't remember, Smith, so sorry for asking so many questions.
Can we click through to my works, maybe?
Absolutely. Yeah, so this is what I maybe expected to see on the homepage, was lots of examples of work. And again, let me praise the work. Like, the work here is definitely high quality, very solid. You definitely can carve out a space for yourself in the market. I love that you lead, whether this is a real project or not. I love that you sort of lead with like a recognizable name, Katy Perry.
Yeah.
It makes it look like you've done some big work. Maybe you have, maybe you haven't. It kind of doesn't matter. What it makes it look like is that you
It's
have worked with
relatable.
some quality brands. What's that?
People know who it is, you know, they're going to
Yeah.
resonate with that.
Yeah.
Smith said that he would just love to pursue illustration in general.
Okay. So I would go heavy on the illustration then. I mean, which you've done nicely here for the most part. I would put your strongest projects up first. I'm going to click on one of these because we have to speed through these. I don't know what it's going to do when I click, but it looks like it takes me to an image. Okay, so this is an image page, but that's all I get. It looks like maybe there's supposed to be text here potentially. I'm not sure.
When we talk about the journey, guys, like think of everything taking you back to the intended endpoint.
Yeah.
So presumably that is to hire you. That is what we call in the business a dead end. You've reached this page and either you leave the website, which is most likely, or you have to go back and dig around some more. Every case study, every page where you explore a piece in more depth should have a call to action like, great, if you're enjoying this, like get in touch and hire me.
Yeah, learn more about how I can do this for your business. Words like that can drive people through to the end of the journey where they ultimately hire you. Like Tom said, at these dead ends, now they have chances to click here. They have chances to click here, all through here. I mean, there's lots of opportunity to click and to not continue through a journey. And see, now I'm sort of frustrated with the usability. I understand this isn't all necessarily your fault because it is. It looks like it's built on a particular platform, but still, feedback is feedback.
So Smith said that these are all personal projects. Like he just likes to do this illustration as his hobby. Yeah. So that's cool. What's on there.
Well, it's a great start. Definitely a great start. I'd say you're very talented, particularly if there's not any client work up here. But do some we talked about spec work, pro bono work. You could also just do theoretical work. You could just pick a company that you'd like to do an illustration for, do a project, invent a brief. Like that's better than no brief at all. And so that definitely. There may have been a brief in your mind here with these projects. For example, Miss Universe 2015, like that, that's a professional looking piece of work. You could be honest about it being hypothetical here, but you could also share, hypothetically, here's what the brief would have looked like, and here's how I addressed it, and that kind of thing.
Just another question that's coming as we go through, Preston. Paul had asked, and Dave was like, good question. Do they include social links on their portfolios at all to their social media profiles?
Again, it comes back to the journey, right? So a lot of times social media will be the top of the journey, the top of the funnel, the top of this path that you want them to follow to hiring you. So there's an argument to be made for not having them on your portfolio at all. Because your goal is not to get more Instagram followers. Your goal is to get more clients. However, there is also an argument to be made for building a following and an audience and a fan base. So if you insist on including them, which I'm not saying you absolutely shouldn't, I would say you can include them potentially on your contact page under your form after they have a chance to complete that primary action that you want them to complete. But having them on every page and always available and always distracting you can be potentially detrimental.
Yep, I agree. I wish we could riff on this all day, given that we probably have about 10 minutes. Can we jump into the other portfolios? There's so much more we could say about each one. It's really frustrating.
I'm long-winded. I apologize, but this is fun for me.
No. Like you're
hopefully it's bringing a lot of value to people.
Yeah, there's lots of comments. Everyone's taking notes. They're finding this really helpful. So thank you.
Yeah, super helpful. We appreciate it. And Smith, thank you for submitting, Smith.
Yes. Thank you very much. It was fun to take a look at it. Again, very talented. Keep up the good work. Yep. Okay, it looks like we're moving on to Gloria is next. So up here, this is a small thing, but this is naming your page something interesting and value driven here in the page title instead of just home. Same here, the road to creativity. Like we're getting there in the copywriting, but again, it doesn't tell me as a business what you're going to give me. What's the value what problem are you going to solve for me? What are you going to fix? Same with here. I'm a graphic designer. That's great. Instead, let's talk about the problem that you're going to solve. And how you're going to help them.
Presumably people have that context going to your site. So that would be like if I wanted to hire an electrician and I went to his site and he went, "Hi, I'm an electrician." It's like, I know that.
So.
But like, what makes you better than other electricians? Or why should I hire you? Or like, are you trustworthy? All that kind of stuff.
Yes. Yeah, and I'm sorry we dived right into like critiques here because that's what we're here for. But let's not forget. I mean, it does look clean. It looks nice. It looks professional. Like I've seen much worse.
I don't know if that image has been done by Gloria, but that's gorgeous.
Yeah, the image is nice. The typography is good. I like the little like eye-catching interactive thing. I think if you just mixed up the copywriting and the focus, that would be good.
And I would say 90% of the problems I've seen in the designer portfolios particularly comes down to copy. Maybe, Tom, you've seen the same thing. It just feels like copy is such a hard thing to wrap your brain around.
It's copy, it's focus. Like rarely is the issue the quality of work, as we're seeing today. It's how you package it up.
Yes, absolutely. Here are more chances to click away. Just, again, sort of kicking a dead horse there. Again, having a hard time controlling your journey here. Now you might have multiple journeys, in defense of the navigation. You might say, well, I want people to go to the gallery or the shop and take a different journey to buy something from my shop, in which case your site would have two different journey paths. But in any event, you want to be able to control that journey as much as possible. And the more options you have up here, the harder that is to do.
So Preston, just to add on what you said, with the opportunities to click away, I loved when I used to consult on this stuff and redesign people's sites. I would strip all that out and I would call it spring cleaning. And every bit that you remove basically incrementally increases the conversion rate and what you actually want them to do. So if there's a call to action saying, hire me, and let's say currently 1% of your visitors to your site are doing that, when you take those social media icons out, suddenly it goes from 1% to 1.5%. And then you take something else out and it goes to 3%. You take something else out and it just creeps up in the right direction. And that becomes huge because it means if you get 1,000 people hitting that site, suddenly you might get 7 times the number of people actually hiring you. And it can have a real impact.
Absolutely. And it can happen fast. And I'd say if you're struggling with it, if you're sort of having emotional turmoil about having social media icons on your site, think of it this way. From a business point of view, what is more valuable? If I visit your site and click Google Plus and follow you on Google Plus, or if I click hire me, which you can put up here in the corner, and I end up hiring you, you actually probably don't care if I follow you on Google Plus in relation to me hiring you, right? Like 10 times, 100 times, 1,000 times rather I actually hire you and pay you to do creative work. So I agree 100%. As I scroll down through here, I love seeing the different projects. Again, high quality work, as always, as we've seen. There is a sort of a smattering of, different kinds of projects. I would love, I'm not a huge fan of like hovering to have to see more details. Again, this comes back to what we've said in other portfolios. Maybe pick 3 to 4 to 5 of your favorite ones and put some copy next to them and under them to really explain the value that you brought to the clients.
People are lazy. Remember that.
Yeah, so lazy. And there's browser compatibility issues. Like some people might not be able to hover. Like there's all these issues that can creep up. If you keep it simple, it'll always work.
So someone got to the bottom of the page. Now what? The only options they've got are social media icons again, which are not only in the center, but the bottom right. So if you took all that away and just had, okay, now get in touch and hire me, that's what you want them to do.
You almost want to, if you want to get your personality across behind it, it's almost that thing like, seen enough yet? That kind of, just keep referencing back to, are we going to work together or not, You
don't want another dead end at the bottom of your pages. You just hit the bottom and it's like, okay, I either leave or I scroll back up.
Yeah.
Yes. And so I scroll back up and I still don't have any action that I can take. And so calls to action are missing from this page, really. I have to click the contact page. And contact has become such a common, almost cliche navigation item that it doesn't feel like a call to action, as opposed to hire me or learn more or get in touch. You can be and on your contact page, this is where you really want to sell it, right? Like I've clicked through to contact. If there is any hesitancy right now for me, you want to dispel any worry or concern right in this moment. You want to say like, wow, I'm so excited to talk to you. I'll get back to you within 24 hours. you won't regret this. I mean, you don't say that, but those are the emotions that you want to evoke, right?
It should have passion, right? It shouldn't feel like a template.
Yes.
So like you say, I can't wait to work with you. Get
Yes.
some social proof and a testimonial in there. Say how many clients you have helped. Have a picture of you so it makes you more approachable. Where it's like, this is a person who's eager to help me and bring me value and work with
and
me instead of just a kind of a boring, clean template.
Yeah. So again, some great work in this one. A lot we can improve. Hopefully that was helpful. I think we need to probably do maybe one more, guys.
Yeah. Let's jump into one more. And Gloria again. I think Dave was the next one.
Is he there
maybe
anyway?
if we go down. Gloria, your work does look great, so definitely not trying to focus on the negative. It's just with time limitations, it's like fix this, and this. Dave's like the longer comment there, I think.
This one here.
Graphic design. Yeah. Let's finish up on Dave.
I think as well, from me, again, someone who's not a designer, just my opinion, I feel like portfolio is quite a scary word. Like to me, portfolio is something I had to put together when I was at school in order to do my exams.
Yeah.
Like, here's my portfolio, please give me an A. Do you know what I mean?
Right.
It doesn't have to be something that's scary in that way. It's more about, just showing yourself off so you can get paid, right? It doesn't have to be this big, scary professional
I think
thing.
People just feel unclear on it.
Yeah.
So hopefully today helps with that.
Like if someone asked me for a portfolio, I'd be like, what is that?
Yeah.
There's a lot of it almost feels like a CV or a resume, as you're applying for a job, and there's just a lot of pressure behind it.
Exactly.
That doesn't necessarily have to be there. It
should be fun because ultimately design is your passion. That's why you're doing it. It's fun.
Yeah. It shouldn't be boring.
No.
What are your thoughts on Dave's, Preston?
Well, first of all, it packs a punch in a good way when you first get there. It's clean, professional. You can see some projects immediately. I love that. Without scrolling, I haven't scrolled yet, so I can see the branding, DW graphic design. I can see mostly what you work on, design and branding and logo design. Obviously, there's the social buttons again. We won't kick that dead horse, but that is an opportunity for someone to click away. About and contact, again, we could maybe punch those up a little bit or just put them right here on the page. We'll see where they're actually at as we scroll down. But initial reaction is like, this is good, but it is missing that headline, that value proposition, that why should I stick around and see more? Why should I hire you? Why? And you always have to be thinking in the mind of the client, why should they continue through this journey that we've been talking about?
Yeah, so instead of a grayed out menu, if it was, I create compelling logo designs that bring my clients' businesses to life, or something along those lines.
Yeah, or again, using active voice with putting the business first instead of you first, you can say, bring your business to life with, modern logo design or something like that. So, really, really focusing on what you're bringing to the client as opposed to what you do. It's such a hard transition because your portfolio is to show what you do, but really, if you're really good at it, your portfolio is meant to show how you benefit businesses. So let's scroll down and see some projects. Very clean. I like, that the name is here. If I hover, so there's nothing I get when I hover, so that's fine. But it is, in my mind, missing just that one or two sentences right here that say, this new logo, open for without knowing what it is, it's hard to sort of make that up. But designed a logo for a restaurant open to so many thousands of people or whatever, or rebranded, depending on what the project was all about.
Yep.
Sorry, that was very messy, but I'm starting to feel the time pressure here. Let's see. We scroll down through. Again, we're missing like.
It's good work again.
Betty's Bakery looks delicious.
Oh yeah, no, this whole portfolio is great work. I love this. I love this sushi. The sushi logo. Yep. I think there's some really, really solid work here. But again, we have a dead end here. What do I do next? How do I hire you? If I'm interested, what do I do? Let's see. Let's click through to one of these. I really liked this sushi one. Let's click through.
And actually, Preston, it's worth noting the other menu items like contact are so grayed out. They're almost like you can skim over it and miss
I wasn't sure if that was just our screen or if that's the way that they are.
Grayed out.
Okay.
So you're doing the extra step of you have to hover to be able to read the thing.
To read it, yeah. And it's not quite so bad on the native screen here, but it's a good point to bring up. Again, coming back to like different browsers, and devices, depending on how people have their contrast set and that sort of thing, they may not be able to read that at all. So you do need to be careful, make things extremely easy to read, extremely easy to access. High contrast is always preferred over lower contrast, even if it doesn't look as pretty. Remember, this is about function. You can do pretty in your projects, but your portfolio, while it should look nice and professional, should be more about function and conversion.
So Dave, amazing work. He did point out the only page where there isn't a call to action is the homepage. If anything, that's the most important page.
Yes, yes. But good job thinking through the other pages to have a call to action. Yeah, he's right. There's a hire me button here. It's a little small for me. I would.
Yeah.
You want to shout that out, Dave?
Yes. And shout out reasons why, or shout out, there's lots of different marketing tactics. Again, you can check out marketing books or marketing courses, but you could say, I have 2 open spots for next month, book your spot, or see if you're a good fit or something like that. There's lots of different things you can say there. That's a good start though, definitely, to at least have it. This is good. It shows a nice, simple project. I love the mock-ups here. We talked about mock-ups in other ones. So I love seeing, how it might look in real life, or maybe it did look in real life.
These look familiar.
Yeah.
Nice looking mock-up.
That's right.
Yeah, I love it.
I thought you meant the sushi bar.
Great job, Dave. Preston, if you have literally 2 minutes left,
let's do it, Tom.
Before we jump into homework, I'm going to put it in the main chat. This should be the correct website. This is the one I mentioned, whereas our creative director's old website. And I think it is a good example.
Yes.
So I think the internet might be a bit laggy, but there we go.
Wow. Yeah. See. Okay. Wow.
So did Matt design all this himself?
Yeah. So straight away you got the headline, kind of talking about what they actually offer. If you go down, Preston, and same thing, like small logo, a lot of the stuff Preston was talking about. It's like
seeing. Yep.
Yeah. In fact, I'd love you to kind of go through this instead of me, and I'd love your 2 cents.
Yeah.
Okay,
here we go.
Coming out.
First of all, there's the wow factor. This sound here, I don't know what that is.
I don't know. There's like a little thing in the corner. It makes it look.
Oh yeah, no, don't worry about that. We'll start.
Is it like the Terry King tune or
something? just put a little pop up there that says, "Don't worry about this. It's nothing." So first of all, like the wow factor is definitely there. You'll notice, my guess is it's not video work that you're doing, but this is a stunning video to put through here to just get the wow factor and to just show that extra level of professionalism. So I really love that. Again, the logo is small up here, so that's good. I love the hover here, so I don't have to click to see what options I have. This does make it a little bit harder to control the journey here, but it depends again on the size of the company, I think, and the different journeys that you have. For a lot of beginners or small sort of solo freelancers, I would recommend a very simple journey. As you test that and you learn more, you can build out more. So, potentially this is fine. It definitely looks professional. It's easy to access. The white on yellow could be potentially a problem in terms of contrast, but I doubt it. Generally, it looks good. Yeah. Powerful strategic brand-led design, I think, is good. I would argue that it's a mix, though, between what you complained about earlier, Tom, which is like, innovative, creative, fun, or whatever. It's sort of a little bit better than that, but still focuses a lot on the work that this person does, as opposed to the value that they bring their client. So I think maybe some workshopping on the headline. It's obviously going in the right direction. I like to read more. It makes me feel like I should scroll or click. So that's positive. This is, I wouldn't necessarily read this all. I don't think a lot of people will. It doesn't mean it shouldn't be there necessarily. I would maybe bold, some like conversion focused design agency. In-depth understanding of your brand. Like there are some things you could bold for skimmers like me to really speak to the value prop, but there's a lot of value prop copy in here. This is really, really good. Maximum engagement, business growth, cross-media communication. Like this is all stuff that I assume the clients who land here want to hear. They want to hear that you are focused on conversions. You're not just designing a pretty piece of work. You're also designing something that's built to convert and bring them more business.
Yes.
So this is talking a little bit about sort of their method as opposed to like the businesses that they work for. So I could go either way on that. I don't think it's terrible, obviously, but I love that I can just scroll and see an image and text, and I clicked on something. Oh, I clicked on brand. So when I was highlighting, that's beautiful. The whole thing is very beautiful.
Do you mind, because of time, just clicking on work, Preston?
Yeah. Oh, whoops. Up here on work.
Yeah, if you can just click work in general, I think you should be able to go through.
So one thing, I'm going to say one quick thing that I keep forgetting to say, but I keep meaning to on every portfolio. I've thought about this. One really great way to do what we're doing today and learn how a client might go through your site is to just get a friend and tell them I want you to, hire me from my website, and then watch over their shoulder as they visit your website, and then don't say anything. You don't get to say, oh, now click work. Oh, now click contact. Click, right? And which, Tom, I'm not. That wasn't a dig at you, man.
Oh, no. I completely agree. And if you can get them to think out loud as well and kind of narrate what's doing, like you, super helpful. It was just because of time. I wanted to.
No. I get it. 100%. Yeah, it just reminded me of. I had thought of that a few times before.
Really good idea.
If you go down, this is such a great example of how you can use minimal text, but basically call out like case. They've got like client quotes.
Client wins.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love that. Client quotes. Client quotes right next to the project that you did for them. Course showed a high degree of professionalism. I mean, this is solid. This is exactly what you want. It's a mini case study and social proof of the work that you did here. And actually, I think a lot of businesses will care more about this side, the right-hand side, than about the visual. And designers, we tend to focus on the visual. In reality, they care about the results over here. This is beautiful. Very, very well done. Yep. I love it.
This was the main thing I wanted to show off with the site, because this is like a better version of the grid. The grid where there's no context. This has like the social proof. It's got the client being super happy.
And it's still quite visually pleasing.
Exactly.
Yep. And here we go. It's not a dead end at the bottom. You get here, you put in 3 different things. This is super low barrier to entry, right? Oh, everyone just got my phone number there. So super low barrier to entry here. I can quickly reach out. Or here, there's multiple ways I can reach out, which is fantastic. And then obviously, if people want to dive deeper, there are options, but it's not the main focus. The main focus is getting them to convert. I think it's fantastically done. Very, very good example.
Awesome. So yeah, I really hope that helps. Preston, you are the man. So value packed. I know people have been blowing up the comments, appreciating it.
Great.
And we're back. We're back in the room.
We're back.
Just a reminder for everyone on the call and anyone who's listening to the playback. Obviously, this can be played back at any time or date, and you guys can take your time to write some notes, take down what Preston said and what Tom said. So don't be panicking if you've missed anything. You can go back and rewatch it a million times and write it all down or what have you. So don't worry.
And I think Preston even offered, if you reached out, to like give a bit more help. No one does this. Like no one is this nice. Apart from maybe me. Preston's kind of competing with me on the niceness scale.
I'm way behind on the niceness scale, but yeah.
Preston is literally like super generous with this, so please take advantage. And before we jump into the homework, let's give it up for Preston. That was amazing, man.
Thank you, guys. Thank you.
Preston.
If you're, how would you like people to contact you, Preston, if they've got any more questions, or what's the best way?
So first, a caveat. I wish I could do like an hour in-depth review of everyone's portfolio. I'll do what I can. Again, I'm a little behind Tom on the niceness, but I will do absolutely everything that I can in the limited time that I have. If you want me to take a look at your portfolio further, you can send me an email. My email is preston@millo.co. That's MILLO.co. And you're going to just put that in there?
Yeah.
You can email me there. We can chat more. You can hit me up on Twitter if you want. Preston D. Lee on Twitter, but I don't talk there as much as I do via email anymore. So feel free to jump in there and we can
What was that email again? Preston@Millo?
Yes. Do you want me to chat it in there?
Yeah. Go for it, man. And just before we jump off, what is the homework for these fine people?
Yeah, so guys, get your pens and papers at the ready. I will put it in the forum thread as we do every week as well. But Preston's going to be setting your homework for this week. So if you're good to let them know the brief, then here's your challenge.
Okay, the homework for this time around is, first of all, my email's down there. I just popped it in before it gets lost in the chat. Okay, the homework for this time around is to take something that you've learned today from our dissecting of these multiple portfolios and sort of talking about this client journey and all the things we've talked about today, and take one action, one simple action, and let us know what it was. So we want you, whether, even if your portfolio is on Instagram for now, or if you have a web portfolio, whatever you have, take some of the principles we've talked about today and apply them. Just one small thing, one small change. Like Tom said before, one small change can make quite an incremental difference in the number or the caliber of clients that you can get through your portfolio. So that's it.
So yeah, just make sure you share it with us. Let us know what you changed. If you want to, pop your link back in and say, go and have a look. I changed, the homepage or whatever. Stick it in the forum thread. I will send you a link to that thread, Preston, so that you can maybe check the guys out and if they've posted it.
Do a before and after. So screen grab it before and after, or if you're on Instagram, have the swipeable album where it's like, here's before, here's after, and talk about what you did. Because not only is that going to help you, but any of your followers or visitors are going to learn from that.
Yeah.
And
they might even come and check out the call. Yeah.
Portfolios everywhere are going to get better as a result.
So if you're sharing on Instagram, don't forget to use the hashtag Design Cuts Community and hashtag Hangout Homework so that we can check it out. And yeah, share it in the forum. Preston will check that out as well. And please do show us what you've taken away from today's call.
I can't wait to see it. Preston, thank you again so much.
You've been amazing. We've learned so much.
Thanks so much. Yeah.
You're the best. You've got people clapping you up over there, people in the comments loving it.
Thank you all so much. Really, it's been a pleasure.
And thank you to everyone for joining, and we'll see you same time next week.
And Preston, I want to jump on a one-on-one with you soon because I forgot how much I like geeking out with this stuff with you.
I feel like
you'll be on
the 10 hours or something. Yeah.
Guys, I never do this. We've overran. So in 3 minutes time, I'm meant to be recording my personal show. And tonight I'm doing a live Q&A where people literally phone in, like dial in.
No, really?
and give me questions.
What phone number have you given?
Well, it's like online. It's on Zoom. It's on this thing, Zoom, which is like a live video hangout. So I'm gonna put a thing in the chat now. If you guys want to join, we're gonna get set up. We'll probably start in like 10 minutes now. But literally, you can jump on just like this call and like ask me any marketing, business, design related questions and put me on the spot, and I'm going to try and answer spontaneously. So let me. I definitely don't want to detract from what Preston has just delivered here, but I would be remiss not to mention it. So let me paste that in. But yeah, for everyone on the call, save that link. Go to it in like 10 minutes time, and I will be there, and I would love to answer your questions. But Preston, man, that was a masterclass. I'd love to have you back on. I know you're working. Can I mention what you're working on?
Yeah, sure.
Cool. So I believe Preston is working on a course going super in depth about all of this stuff. I'm sure you can see from today how valuable that's going to be. So go follow him on social media, go subscribe at Millo, but we'd love to have you back on when the course is ready, maybe do a few more ideas and people an opportunity to go deeper and learn from that course.
Also, Tom, Angela, you're such a topper.
I'm sorry, Angela. What can I say? I'm just getting insecure with all the value that Preston's bringing. So I've got to
throw himself back out there quickly.
But yeah, hopefully I'll see some of you guys in 5-10 minutes. And Preston, I'll talk to you soon, buddy. That was incredible.
Thank you so much, and we'll see you guys next week.
Appreciate it.
Bye.
Okay, sounds good. See you guys.
Bye.